Welcome back into the film room. I'm your host, Erik Turner. And in today's Cover One Film Room feature, we're going to be talking some ball with my man, Connor McGovern, starting center for the Buffalo Bills. Connor, welcome back into the film room, brother.
Thank you for having me. It's always great being on.
I love talking to offensive linemen. I loved your first appearance on the show. It was a show that a lot of fans learned a bunch about football, a bunch about the Bills, and really your headspace as an offensive lineman for the Bills. So I want to start off with, you're 1 week out of the bye, halfway through the season, essentially. How are you feeling right now? How are you feeling health-wise? How are you feeling about the Bills' offense and the future, the game ahead against the Chiefs here coming up?
Yeah. Got to say the body's feeling good right now. As good as it can be for halfway through the season. The bye always helps. Just get away mentally. It was nice to go down to Florida, see the sun again. So it's always a great time. But I think offensively we're rolling, especially in the run game. Last week, James Cook had 216 yards rushing 3 quarters. It's hard to beat that. It's offensive lineman's dream to be done by the start of the fourth quarter. Right. But I think we're rolling. Defense is looking good. And I think we just got a few little things to clean up, and I don't know who could stop us then.
You mentioned the run game and how that's an offensive lineman's dream. You guys ran a play we're going to break down tonight, which I like to refer as kind of a zone toss. It's zone blocking up front for you guys. It's really just a pitch to the running back. You guys ran it 15 times for 99 yards, 1 touchdown, yards before contact per rush, 4.2. That is an offensive lineman stat. You said you guys were rolling. You got James Cook rolling in this game. So what did you guys see on film specifically about the Panthers defense that caused you to attack them with those zone toss plays to get on the perimeter?
Yeah, the first thing we saw, they're very large up front. They have a very solid defensive line. And we knew, all right, let's just get these big guys running early. And the other thing we noticed was a lot of teams, when they were attacking them, they weren't using their hands. We're one of those offensive lines. We put our hands on first. They're reading front. So they like to button press, get into you, shed you late. We're like, if we get our hands on first, we could dictate this block. And it shows that we were able to do that.
And when you say they're a read front, can you kind of slow that down, break that down, for the fans? What does that mean for defensive linemen? What are they trying to do when the ball is snapped?
Yeah, so the first thing they're doing, they're watching me. So if I step left, they follow me. Like they're trying to get their hands on, just literally read how I'm going, put their eyes in the backfield. When it gets late, like they feel my weight and they'll just try to shut off late. They don't care if they get pushed back a yard or two. They just try to shed me late and then make the play. They're not trying just to penetrate, just blow things up. They're just trying to just keep guys off their linebackers and just hold their gap.
So a little different than what you face pretty much every day in practice. If you're talking about the Bills starting defensive front, they're more of that one gap up the field type defense. So it's a little different than what you're seeing from the Bills defense, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Like we think differently. So when these are reader fronts, we're thinking, hey, guards, tackles, get up on the ball as much as you can to get on these guys fast. When it's like a penetrating front, like our defense, get a little off the ball, get a little separation so we can make up that space because they're going to be crowding the ball, just trying to jump off as fast as they can.
And the narrative so far this year is that at times the offense has some lulls, which again, most teams go through trying to figure out their identity and the things that work and don't work. And I loved what Joe Brady talked about last week in his press conference about how you guys are trying to determine, hey, we're playing an odd front this week and how that defense may present different issues than an even front defense like the Bills play. And that is something that a lot of fans don't quite realize, that yes, each week is different and each defense schematically is different. And so the way you run a certain run play or concept versus an even front team may show up differently and have to be blocked up differently versus an odd front team.
Yeah, like it just comes down to double teams, really. Like odd fronts, I'm working a lot more with the guard, 4 down. Like it's just a lot more space. It's just different. Like we run about the same plays, but they just have little tweaks. Like who's in the box. Like some teams will have 4 linebackers and 3 D linemen. Some will have straight 4 D linemen. Some have bigger guys up front. Some guys have more speed, like Atlanta. So it just really depends on how you tweak things every week.
All right, so let's get into some of this film. Let's talk about the zone toss plays. And let me start off by asking you, what is the difference between when Josh is under center and he's pitching it to James Cook versus running just a wide zone run where he's handing it off to James Cook? Is there a certain purpose behind that, behind the toss versus just the handoff?
A lot of it comes down to just angles and how, like, when you toss the ball, the running back's just hitting it right now, so we know we got to go. Like when Josh is in the gun, hand it off, it's a little bit slower usually. So we really just wanted to, this is the first play of the game. We really just want to get on the ball and just go right now. So best way to do that is toss to James Cook, and he's very fast. So get him on the perimeter.
Yeah, get him the ball quickly. Let him make those decisions. Let him set up those blocks and really set up cutback lanes. A lot of times
you said it right there. Set up the cutbacks. That's what we're going for. Like here, thinking, all right, I got to get through the Mike linebacker, give Cybo a little hand because he's thinking about cut that off. I'm thinking either wash that out or trap his arm, pull him into me. And James Cook is the one really setting that up. So I'm reading his momentum. Here, I'm like, all right, he goes, stick out the hand, chop it, pull it into me so he could keep it outside. You'll see later on that James Cook sets it up, and I'm able to wash him out, and he cuts it off inside.
Yeah. No, and I love that. And talk about, so prior to the snap, you have that shade nose tackle, and then you have the Mike kind of, stacked over that nose tackle, but you see that little shift. And explain the importance of getting off the ball. First of all, you talked about how you're going to help Osiris on this play and the angle to that linebacker. Yeah. This can change. And because later in the game, they kind of played it a little different where the nose tackle was a little heavier and the backer was kind of off a little bit, and how that changes what you have to do and how long you can hang on to Osiris on that backside nose tackle. Yeah.
So the first thing come up like, hey, I know I'm working Osiris right now. It's going to be an A block, we call it. And he's backer's backside, I should say. So I'm like, all right, I could be a little bit thicker before I get off to really help him. As soon as he gets front side, I'm basically just flash on hand, try to occupy that nose just a tad longer so Cybo could get his head across and cut him off. Because I know I'm like, I really can't help this because I got to get down the line and try to get in front of this backer.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's taught, and great work. The hand, the chop. Talk about the chop real quick. I know we covered it in the last.
Yeah, that's an Aaron Cromer special right there. Yeah, we work it every single Friday. Finish technique on the second level. As soon as, because just about every linebacker does. As soon as they flash their hand, you chop it, you pull it, or you push them by, whatever you need to. You see all five of us do it.
I mean, that's the Aaron Cromer special. So we have to play the Aaron Cromer special.
Hand. Yeah, hand right now.
I love it. Hand right now. And again, that helps set up the block for James Cook and to get, a good 11-yard gain on that
play number one
early in the game. Yeah, play number one, really setting the tone like you're talking about. So we're going to move forward in the game a little bit. Same type of play here. But guys, I want you to watch Josh Allen on this play as the Bills set up and settle in. You see him kill here. And so I want you to talk about what that is as far as offenses go, what Josh is doing on that play, and why Gilliam does shift over like that.
Yeah, so the original play call, we're basically running a duo to the right, and we had a look this against Carolina when these backers shifted over, because look how far that Mike linebacker, he's head up of me.
Yeah.
And Seven's coming down into the box. We're like, hey, they got to be slanting, like some pressure's coming, something. So let's not run duo away from this because someone on the backside is just going to run this play down. It's not going to be worth anything. So we came up with, all right, when we have duo, see Seven come down, backers bossed over. Let's get to a wide zone. Let's run right at it. And because we know the three tech's going to be slanting, the end's going to be slanting, someone's going to come off the edge. So we just basically it turns into a very wide single to the Mike linebacker, being Dave, and then Dion and everyone else just figured out and just how they hit it. Either that end was going to hit outside and Reggie reads off, goes inside, like that happens, or that end flows inside and Reggie has to read out and go outside. And then you have James Cook that just makes a great cut.
And so on this play, you're telling us that essentially there were two plays called here based on the look by the defense. Initially, you were going to run duo, which we've seen a bunch of times getting downhill. It's gap run without a puller. And you see James Cook, he lives and he makes a lot of plays off that. A lot of times what he does is kind of sucks guys into the line of scrimmage and then bounces out wide.
Yep.
But because of the look you saw and that 98 kind of shifting down, the Mike linebacker 53 kind of bossed over, head up over you, you guys killed a play. So you kill that play duo and you go to the second play. Is that correct?
Yes. So we get the look. First thing I'm doing, first I'm calling out my calls for the first play. Fully see that, hey, this is the look. Turn around and tell Josh. You see Dave turn and say, hey, we don't like this. We don't like this. And Josh, then it's up to Josh to kill it.
Yep.
And then Susan, we have about a couple seconds to re-mic it how we need it to. And then boom, we're off the ball.
Yeah. And I love this because again, you guys ran this a bunch in this game and, almost essentially running into really what the strength of that defense is and allowing, Cook to once again sort it out himself. But can you please talk about one, how difficult of a block this is for you to pick up 97, and is there some kind of exchange happening between you and Edwards on this play? And then finally, like, what are you working to kind of seal this guy off inside?
Yeah. So reaching a 3-tech is one of the hardest things the center can do, especially under center.
Yep.
So we knew when we got this look that he was most likely going to be slanting inside. And as soon as he goes away, Dave knows, all right, I can't help anymore, because if he continues to push against it, we're just going to work against each other and he's going to go free, basically. So as soon as he goes inside, Dave passes him along to me, and he's thinking, all right, I got to get up to the mic. And he gets his head play side, and basically just the way James Cook sets us up, just that hand is just enough to slow him down and give him enough time to make that cut, and it's beautiful.
So let me ask you, how often would you say you guys get 2 plays in the huddle, and then you and the offensive line and Josh kind of have to sort things out once at the line of scrimmage? What's a good percentage, more or less, that you think that happens?
It really depends on the week. Like sometimes it's 50, 60%. Other weeks it might be 30 or 40% of the plays. I would say it's more often in the run game that we'll have multiple looks. Like I would say, like sometimes we might come in like, hey, they played these fronts and basically like whenever they're in base, they're more likely like this. So we'll have 2 plays up, or some teams are, hey, they're more of a nickel front, and like here are these 2 plays if they give us this look. So it really depends on the week. I think we had probably, I would say, closer to 40% of these were alert. Either sometimes they're alert just opposite, or they're a whole new play, get away, like, hey, this safety's down, clearly pressure's coming, let's just get zone out the other way.
Right.
Sometimes it's not like 2 very different plays. Sometimes it is.
Oh, that makes sense. The other thing about running it 15 times, tossing it and pitching it out 15 times, is that sometimes it can set up other things, right? And so you see later in the game on this touchdown, it's more of like a counter, a wind back. But I love this play because, one, you're not pulling traditional offensive linemen on these plays, so it looks a lot different. And I want you to talk about how that can really screw up the keys for linebackers or defensive linemen, especially on a read type defense. When they're expecting a gap run, they're expecting linemen to be pulling, but instead you essentially are pulling Hawes and Gilliam on this play, on top of, hey, they've ran this pitch play, what looks like it's going to be the pitch play, but instead go back to the other side for the touchdown.
Yep, that's a great thing about having Hawes and Reggie. Like, they're 2 just athletic monsters back there that could block anyone, but they can also at the same time go out for a pass. And that was different. Like when we have Alec in there as our 6-0 lineman, teams know what we're going to do. Like we gave this play many times last year with Alec, and they kind of knew what was coming. But here it looks just like the other plays we're running, and now we're running counter away. Like it's just their just ability to block and figure things out in space just allows us to free up so many more looks.
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch because you guys have so much more variability to the run concepts you have. Like you said, instead of pulling linemen, now you're essentially pulling Hawes and Gilliam. And talk about Gilliam. I went back and watched all of your 21 and 22 personnel type looks, and a lot of those plays were explosive runs by James Cook, and a lot of those plays Gilliam was leading up front. Yeah,
like he does not get enough credit. Like Reggie will just come in there and who's whatever color's in that hole, he's blowing that thing up. And James does a great job just cutting off that. But he doesn't care if white, blue, whatever that color is, he's just blowing that up. And that's great to see. You love it from a fullback.
You're right, because I remember one low red zone play. He wiped out Shavers on the goal line.
Yeah.
And I think it was like it might have been a dual run, but he wiped out Shavers, and Shavers gets up. He looks back. He's like, what are you doing, man? You're right. He hits color. He doesn't care. Whatever flashes in front of him, he hits it, whether you guys are running on offense or even on special teams.
And that's what you need from a fullback.
Yeah, I love it. He's such he cleans up, right? He cleans up things. And so on this play, it's more of a wind back, a counter play. Would you guys consider this more of a man type concept? Like what bucket does this fall in when we're talking run concepts?
It's more of a gap. Yeah. So we're going technically. So me and Dave are working to the last linebacker in the box here. So as soon as he goes away from me, I know, all right, I got to get up now and try to cut this thing off. So obviously it's going to go play side here. So I'm just like trying to build a wall and make sure he does not come over top. And then Reggie does a great job just cleaning out. And now James Cook's just one-on-one with the safety.
Now, I know a lot of times one guy that is unheralded, doesn't get talked about a lot, doesn't talk a lot.
Yep.
David Edwards.
Yeah. Look at this finish technique. Look at this finish technique.
What is that? I always call it like a hook and run, but talk about how he rips up through that and what that does as the ball and James Cook are entering the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. So look, 97 is trying to press him out, going long arm here. So Dave's out of leverage here. You can't really do much. You can't push against it because he's got all this weight in the ground. So when that happens, you feel it. When he starts to press, you rip underneath that, and just kind of just tuck and pull it down. And now they're preoccupied with that. It just allows the back to get through. It's just little things that, that Cromer teaches, that just the finish techniques.
It's funny because, Edwards did it a couple of times. He did it on I think it was the first run where he did it. He did it a couple of times where he kind of pulls on the back of the jersey, just tugs just a little bit.
Just a tug.
Just a little tug, and it allows the running back to get through the hole. But it's those little things because, like, every time he pulls one of these techniques out, the defensive lineman's like, where's the hole?
They get so mad, but it's not hold. Like,
no,
still play our hands, everything's inside. It's just a quick little nudge, and it's just enough to just stop them for a hair, and that's enough for James Cook to get by. And they are so mad afterwards.
Oh man, it happened several times in this game. I just love watching his film as well because he's such a technician when it comes to, especially under Cromer's techniques. Like, he is very tactical and technical when it comes to the blocking concepts that Cromer teaches.
Oh, for sure. He's the technician of the offensive line. Everything he does is just very precise.
All right. So the last play of this breakdown, it's going to be pass protection for you guys. And what I want you to talk about here is explain how shifts in motion can help offensive lineman protection. And did the motion on this play by Johnson confirm or change that initial protection that we see at the beginning of this play?
Yeah, like the motions help us tremendously. Like, we'll come up, we'll give a cadence or two, just kind of see how they set. Josh might yeet it back out of there. We know if backer follows, it's probably man to man, so we can change the protection if we need to. Like, so 32 goes out of the box. Hey, just keep Ty Johnson out there. Now we don't have to worry about that back because that's just one less guy. Because if Ty stays in the backfield, that back might add on late, and now it's an extra guy that we can't afford to block. And so just little things like that just really helps us. The shifts and motions really help us pick out.
And I love that you say that, hey, Ty Johnson, that linebacker goes with him, keep him out there. Because we saw early in the game, that linebacker stayed in, and he was unblocked. Dawkins kind of kicked out to the edge player. And this is something we saw a bunch this year. It's something I broke down in the film room, how you guys are seeing a lot of these load fronts with 3 to one side of the center and then 2 in the other. But motioning out here for this protection actually helped you guys then, right? Because it took that guy out of the box. Then you could focus in on the guys that were likely to rush on this play.
Yep. Yeah. So as soon as we get the load front, we're like, okay, 32 goes out of the box. Hey, I could bring Dave with me. We could go 4-4. Like, now it's 4-on-3. And if they bring someone off the right edge, we're good to go. And Josh knows if anything else comes to the left, he's hot off. And then you have the freak Dion blocking 1-on-1.
Right. And that's why that little motion, fans think it's just to help Josh ID coverages and ID man versus zone, but it actually can help the offensive line.
It makes our job a lot easier.
A lot easier, right? Exactly. So are you guys noticing teams attacking you guys with this load front? Again, it's the way it starts. Are you noticing that teams are attacking you guys with that a little more this year? And if so, why is that? You kind of alluded to it here early in the breakdown.
Yeah, I would say probably a little bit more than last year. Like, we get a lot more load fronts than most teams, just because it's easier to try to keep Josh in the pocket. He's a very mobile quarterback, as everyone knows. Yeah. So a lot of teams will do is either give us a load front or just give us a regular 4-down front and just spy him with the linebacker and anything to kind of just keep him in the pocket and not let him do Josh Allen things.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there are multiple ways. That's why, I love football. Multiple ways to get that job done of spying or containing. On this play, the Panthers end up only, rushing 4. Josh gets a good pocket, shows some really good eye discipline, flashing his eyes out to Shakir, but then hitting Kincaid over the top of the robber. Just good work. I just love how, again, fans can now learn that, hey, motion and shifts aren't just for the quarterback, aren't just for, the wide receivers and the pass game. It helps you guys protect Josh Allen, especially when they're trying to do some exotic things to not only contain Josh, but to fluster him. That's why I love football, man. It's so much fun to break down things like that.
Oh, it's great, especially just seeing those little things like that. Just people wouldn't realize that at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So great breakdown of the zone toss and the techniques and the concepts and that pass protection piece right there. So with that said, post game is over, especially a game like this where you guys said you enjoy those type of games where you're running a lot. But what is your post game recovery look like after a game? You talked about how much weight you lost,
Yeah.
you lose during the game, right? In the last breakdown, the last time you're in the film room. But what does your recovery look like to get kind of that weight back, to get your energy back and get your legs back up under you?
Yeah, the first thing, literally, as soon as I walk in locker room, I have a protein shake ready for me at my locker. Instantly drink that within seconds. I have some type of Gatorade with salt packets in it, try to get the electrolyte back. But then, literally, I take about 10 minutes just taking all the tape, braces, everything I have on my body, take all that off, try to cool down the core as much as I can just by drinking or get in the shower. If home game, get an ice bath. And then after that, just trying to consume as many calories as I can.
Okay, let me bring this film back up for this next question. Okay, so on this touchdown, guys, I don't know if you noticed, but on both of these plays, watch James Cook. He's hitting something right there, and it looks like what I would think are the smelling salts. You see him toss it right before the play. Here's another one. He discards this right here, and again goes on to a touchdown. So let me ask you, Connor, do you use smelling salts, and if so, what do they do for you? A lot of fans don't understand what that does for a player.
It's just like a little energy boost. You just crack the ammonia pack in, sniff it, and takes you to a whole nother level. I do them from time to time, not as much as some other guys that do it before every play, every drive. I do it maybe in the locker room before the game, like nothing crazy compared to some people.
Yeah, kind of. It's like a punch in the face. It's very pungent. It kind of wakes your senses up and kind of brings.
I used to do it a lot more younger in my career, but then I was like, if I ever get knocked down, they got to wake me up. I don't know if I might be nose blind to these things now, so I stay away a little bit more.
So we got some questions here from some of our insiders, and we appreciate you guys joining us here on this special feature. One of the guys asked, "Who is the most annoying defensive lineman to practice against?"
Me personally, on our D line, like it'll have to be Dion Walker because that's who I mostly go against. But like, so at the beginning of practice, we'll do like 2-minute situations, stuff like that, and defense gives us all exotic looks what they're doing that week. So me and Dave and Josh are figuring out, all right, who are we down? Like just trying to figure out, because they'll put in different packages where there's only 3D linemen, multiple linebackers walking around. So we got to figure out who's just spine, who's actually coming. I would say in that situation, you got to find where Michael Hoyt's at, because he's walking around. He might start on the right side, then all of a sudden he's head up over me. He's walking around. So it just really depends on the situation. So I'd say 2 in space, or sometimes even like AJ Epinesa will come inside, then like they'll put a D in it. So it's like how much space they give us. And I'm like, oh, the center's really going to struggle this week for the other team.
And that leads to the question, during a game week, how often are you guys actually matched up 1-versus-1s in team segments? Because usually, you're facing a scout team a decent amount, but how often are you guys matched up 1-versus-1s in team segments during the week of a game?
Yeah, we go every day. We start practice off with like a 2-minute situation, end the game, 4 minutes, something like that. It's walkthrough, but it gives us a bunch of different looks. It allows defense to see how an offense will attack them, allows us to see multiple different looks from defense, so we're not surprised by anything. And so we're not really it's not like camp where we're going all out. It's just a straight walkthrough. It's before we even warm up, so no one's going really full speed, but allows us to get more looks.
Yeah, you're kind of mapping out, the situations and plays that you're going to be running, but you're not going 100%. One of our insiders, Dom, had a great question, and it doesn't necessarily apply this week at home against the Chiefs, but when you're on the road and you're using that silent count with the guard and you see Osiris kind of flashing his hand and letting you know, hey, Josh is ready, can that telegraph when the ball is going to be snapped? And if so, how do you combat that in a game as a center in that process of silent count on the road?
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like teams can start dialing you up on it. They can tune into it. You got to switch. Sometimes we'll go on so we'll do a fake head bob. We'll go on the second head bob. Then you have other times where I'm just strictly looking through my leg and I'm yelling go as soon as I see Josh's knee. We have other times where I'll bob, pause 1001, then snap it. So we have different things to try to switch up on the defense, and that really help us. Like especially like when we have motions, all that we'll switch up. We won't just go on one, so we can see what the defense is doing. So we're kind of at a disadvantage, but we're able to work some things in to come back in our favor.
So when you're making those adjustments in game, is that like a drive-to-drive thing? Is that a play-to-play thing? How do you communicate that to guys outside, whether it be wide receivers and tackles? Because a lot of times when it's loud because you're on the road and you have your tackles that a lot of times you see Dion and even Spencer kind of looking inside at the ball. Like, when are you communicating, hey, the process for this drive is X?
It's really play to play. Like, so Josh will tell us when he wants the ball, he'll give us the cadence. If you see the tackles really move up in front of the guards, because we have very large human beings at guards, it's hard to see me. So they move up and they literally are looking in at the ball. And then, so as soon as ball snap, they look back out. So they're not looking at the DN first up. So they're really trying to peripher everything. So hats off to them doing that.
Yeah.
Me, I know when it's going, basically. So it's a little bit easier for me.
All right, last couple of questions. It's Chiefs week. Everyone's in a frenzy. Everyone loves this matchup. What is practice like this week during Chiefs week versus, again, we always hear the line that, it's the most important game because it's the next, but we can cut through all of that. And we know that this game is different in the regular season. It's different in the postseason. What is Chiefs week like in the regular season, and how is practice and the focus of practice this week?
Yeah, I would say practice really doesn't change. The one thing about Chiefs, it's basically another divisional games. We know them very well. They know us very well. And it just comes down to who executes better, really. So the practice really doesn't change much. It's not an unscouted opponent as like when you usually play against other divisions.
Yeah, that's
you don't really know them fully, but we know them very well and they know us.
Yeah, you guys play essentially twice a year. So yeah, it is just like a divisional opponent. And when you're talking going against a divisional opponent, it's one thing. But you're talking about going against a defensive coordinator like Steve Spagnuolo. He is one of the best in the game, one of the best ever as a DC. So when you're playing against the Chiefs, when you're playing against Spags, how does he test or challenge you as an offense or offensive lineman differently than maybe some other defensive coordinators around the league?
Yeah, I would say just first off, their defense is just very fundamentally sound. So they're very rarely ever out of gaps. So that's hats off to them on that. But the good thing that they dial up blitzes, they're very good at disguise. They've all been there for so long that they wait till the last second. They trust each other, so they're coming down late. So it's just little things that are like, all right, it might look like it's too high, then very, very, very late, like right before the snap or even after the snap. Sometimes they rock and roll, the safety's over.
Yeah.
So it's little stuff like that people don't really see. It's like how they just disguise a lot of their looks or their blitzes. They might show one way and they're bringing the safety blitz from the other way. Or it's like sometimes they give you the same look multiple times throughout the game, and each time it's a different look. So you don't really know what you're going to get with them.
And then obviously they have a game record in Chris Jones. Talk about going against him. Like, what if you were trying to explain and paint the picture of what it's like going against Chris Jones and, the moves he likes to go to, how he wins consistently in the league and in those high leverage moments. What would you say to paint that picture about Chris Jones?
He's unlike any other D lineman in the league. I'd say, I think in my personal opinion, I think he's the best D lineman in the league. Like, he has a very unique size. He's large. He's like 6'6", 300 pounds, but he moves like a small DN. Like, that's a thing people don't understand. Like, he's so large, but next thing you know, you set on him and he's already passed you and he's ripping up the field. He's able to quickly get second, third moves. He's thinking about other things. Like, just the way he dances around, it doesn't look like a strictly big three tech. Like, he easily bumps out to the edge, as you see multiple times. He'll go play over nose. He goes wherever he wants on the field, and he's able to do what he wants.
And that's tough, and when you're as a center, he's the type of guy that you always have to identify where he's at, right? You always have to set your protection. He's that priority, I imagine, when you guys get to the line of scrimmage and you're like, okay, where is Chris Jones at?
And that's another good thing the defense does. They know that most teams are going to slide to him and they're bringing pressure opposite. They get him one-on-one. They do a good job disguising with him, so you always have to be alert. So sometimes you got to leave him one-on-one, and good thing we have very good offensive linemen that, and Josh knows when we are one-on-one with him that he has different checks, whatever. So we always have good game plan when it comes to that.
So you talked about the exotic blitzes, the pressures that Spags can dial up. So what are the keys to minimizing negative plays against that type of defense, against his defense in these big games?
Yeah, the thing is, basically, we just got to stay ahead of the tracks. Like, once you cross that 50-yard line, they're giving you blitz zero. They're trying to knock you out of field goal range, stuff like that. Once you get behind the chains, they're dialing up pressure. So basically, you just got to know, like, stick with what we know, and we just got to execute how we usually do, and you're always fine then.
Last question. So pizza party this week, you having it?
No, not this week. Not this week. It's harder to do on home games, I'd say, just because a lot of guys have families in. So we usually tend to do them on away trips.
All right. So our insider Dom asks this question: what is the most important thing to remember when making your own pizza?
Most important thing, I think, letting it rise for a minimum 72 hours, a cold, nice 72-hour cold rise. I think that's the most important.
Wow. So you let the dough sit for 72 hours?
Yep. Wow. So it almost gives it a nice sourdough taste.
Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. That's a lot of dough then you're letting rest around your house. Where do you put it all?
Literally, we got a second fridge out in the garage for that reason. 2 years ago, my wife was tired of me filling up the entire fridge and kitchen, so we got a second fridge out in the garage just for pizza dough.
Man, your wife's a saint, man. I'll tell you what. That's awesome. Good to hear. Well, Connor, I appreciate you joining us in the film room. Appreciate all the insiders joining us for this special feature with Connor McGovern, breaking down, the pass protection calls, the zone toss runs, kind of the techniques behind it by guys all across the offensive line. So, Connor, thanks for joining us in the film room, brother.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. Always a great time.
Another phenomenal film room in the books. We appreciate you guys joining us. We'll see you next week again in the film room.